Hello, good morning. This is MD Ramzan Bhai. Today I am going to teach ninth class English, second unit of lesson. That it is B lesson. B lesson is what is a player poem it is. So, children, in this video you are going to watch B poem and also some grammar part of this unit. That means it is given after A lesson. So, let us discuss grammar also after the poem. So get ready with the textbook. Poem you see that, be reading that it is unit 2. So children, you are very interested in playing games. So here the question is asked, a title is given to you. What is a player? What do you think of a player? What is the meaning of that player? Let us see here. A player is one who doesn't give up at the sight of defeat. First stanza, let me read it out, all of you see there. A player is one who doesn't give up at the sight of defeat, but learns from their mistakes and puts them beneath. A player is one who doesn't give up at the sound of the buzzer, always giving what they have from one side of the court to the other. This is the first stanza of the poem. So poet, that is, she is going to ask you, a player is one. Who is that? That is a player who does not give up at the sight of defeat. By seeing the defeat, the situation of the defeat, by seeing it, he does not give up. Give up means leave, to cancel. That means he won't accept his defeat. A true player, a good player, he tries to play until the end of that game. Here, that is the player, he does not give up at the sight of defeat, but learns from their mistakes and puts them beneath. Mistakes, so many mistakes he does there, but from that mistakes he learns so many new things there. And not only this, if any mistakes are there, he puts them down. A player is one who doesn't give up at the sound of the buzzer. So when the sound, it gives buzzer sound, umpire, he gives the sound, he doesn't care. He tries, still he wants to play. Always giving what they have from one side of the court to the other. So from one side of the court, what he wants to give, always giving some spirit, he plays like that only in continuation. This is the first stanza. Let me come to the second stanza. A player is one who doesn't whine about their playing time. And because a player knows it is an unacceptable crime. A player is one who practices game speed, always keeping in mind that their shots are not guaranteed. So they know well that their shots are not guaranteed. Every shot, everything that they won't get any advantage. They know it well. A player knows it well. So it doesn't whine about their playing time. He doesn't whine. Whine means here complain. That means he never stops in the middle of the game and he never thinks about that to give the complaint and some other. And here he knows it unacceptable crime. A real player knows it there. It is an unacceptable crime. Opposite word, acceptable and unacceptable. In the middle of the game, they want to complain. And a player who practices game speed, he tries to practice always keeping in mind their shots are not guaranteed. A player knows it well that every shot is not guaranteed. This is the second stanza that stanza tells us here about the player. Come to the next stanza. A player is one who doesn't settle for anything less, even knowing that they are not the best. They will be the ones you see outside practicing. Day or night, rain or shine. They are the ones running on hurt ankles, admitting they are fine. So they do hard work, they practice in hard. Day and night, rain and shine, they practice and practice. Even in running time, they hurt some their ankles. And not only this, though they admit they are fine. Though they are not good, they admit means they accept, they agree, they are fine. They don't accept their defeat. They won't accept their pain. They want to express their pain also. That is why that are the players, and a real player he won't accept his pain also. So a player who does not settle for anything less, even knowing that they are not the best. Sometimes a player, even if he is not the correct player, even if he is not the best player, he won't accept this. They will be the ones you see outside practicing. Once we have to see outside practicing, how they practice that, they do the hard work and they practice day and night, rain or shine also. That means very hard work they do in rain, in hot noon, and day and night also they do the hard work. Due to this, what will happen? They receive some injuries and some other. Though they admit they are fine. Now come to last stanza. A player is one who has a strong, sensible mind, never pondering about failing, only contemplating prevailing. A player is one who doesn't chicken out, who wants to be in the game when everything counts. Now that is a true player. Who is a true player, do you think here? A player is one who has a strong, sensible mind. A player should have his mind in strong and sensible mind also. And he never pondering about failing. Never pondering means it is thinking about something carefully and for a period of time. At the time, even if he fails, even if he is at the stage of failure, he won't accept that. He will try. He never pondering about failing, only contemplating prevailing. Contemplating its meaning also. He thinks about, considering about his existence. Prevailing means existing. So he tries always for his existence only. He never accepts his defeat. Who wants to be in the game when everything. Not only this, a player is one who doesn't chicken out. Who doesn't chicken out. Chicken out means here to decide not to do something because of fear. He doesn't have any fear. With the fear, he won't cancel. He won't stop his practice. He won't stop his playing. With the fear. That is a chicken out means here. I repeat that. A player is one who doesn't chicken out. He won't stop in the middle of the game. It tries until the last second of the game. Who wants to be in the game when everything counts, and now that is a true player. So every second, every minute, till the end of the game, a player who plays without disappointment, without discouragement, he is a true player. So this is a theme of this, what is a player. This is a poem written by Jessica Taylor, a woman poet. She wrote this poem very extraordinary way to encourage, to give the spirit of the players. Beautiful poem this is. Children, by knowing this poem, you can also come to the meanings. Give up, leave, give up means cancel, and stop, whine, complain, pondering, thinking about, contemplating, considering about, chicken out, to decide not to do something because of fear. It is a phrasal verb. Admitting, accepting, prevailing, most common. Now you see that children, this is a poem. Let me read it out once again. In minutes I am going to read it out, all of you. See that once again. What is a player? A player is one who doesn't give up at the sight of defeat, but learns from their mistakes and puts them beneath. A player is one who doesn't give up at the sound of the buzzer, always giving what they have from one side of the court to the other. Second stanza. A player is one who doesn't whine about their playing time, because a player knows it is an unacceptable crime. A player is one who practices game speed, always keeping in mind that their shots are not guaranteed. A player is one who doesn't settle for anything less, even knowing that they are not the best. They will be the ones you see outside practicing day or night, rain or shine. They are ones running on hurt ankles, admitting they are fine. A player is one who has a strong, sensible mind, never pondering about failing, only contemplating prevailing. A player is one who doesn't chicken out, who wants to be in the game when everything counts. Now that is a true player. This is the poem, children. Now let me come to this. Children, now let me come to the second unit only. This is grammar part is given to you. All of you check that even if you go to that back side of the pages, back side of this poem, grammar is given to you. That it is the grammar part. It is asked to you to know about that sentences that are connecting sentences with as and when with since. Three sentences I have written. You may see in your book, textbook then. That is the page number 32, back side of the poem, not front pages here. Back, you come back after a lesson, second unit A lesson, lesson completion afterwards, after the meanings. After the meanings, you come back here. That it is vocabulary. After the vocabulary, grammar part is given. You open and see that. You can see that as he raced down the golden lined wheat fields, he would always outrun the locomotives passing by. This is the sentence here. It is in between a comma is given to you. There are two parts in this sentence. And next sentence also I'm going to read it out. When he heard the singing of some distant robins in flight, he knew it was his time to fly. Here also a sentence is divided with a comma. That means two parts are there. Let me come to the third sentence. The sentence begins with the since the other Walter had fewer misses, comma is given, Michael needed to clear this vault to win. Children, you observe these three sentences in your textbook. Okay? Each sentence in middle of that some comma is given that it is going to divide. Let me come to that before the comma and after the comma. That it is you have to know that. I am coming to the first sentence here. As he raced down the golden lined wheat fields, comma is kept here. This is the part of the sentence. It is just part of the sentence which doesn't give the complete meaning itself. So it is connected with as, and next you see that it is telling here in this sentence it is going to mention the time. It is related to it, that is a connecting word. It is a conjunction, but it is used as for the purpose of time in this part of the sentence. Next part you see, he would always outrun the locomotives passing by. So you come to know that as the conjunction given to you, this conjunction is used here with the dependent clause. What is the dependent clause here? Generally a sentence it would have with the main clause or subordinate with the subordinate clause. So main clause, what is a part of the sentence which gives complete meaning itself. I repeat, a part of the sentence which gives complete meaning itself, it is called the main clause. Clause, already you know that clause is a group of words, but here first sentence you see there a clause which gives complete meaning, it is called the main clause, or you may say that independent clause. And the first part of the sentence you say it is connected with as, it doesn't give the complete meaning itself. Up to comma you say this, that it is a dependent clause. It is also called subordinate clause. I think you understand. So this dependent clause is connected with as. In the second sentence it is connected with when. In the third sentence it is connected with since. So first two sentences, if you observe them, as and when, these are used to mention the time, particularly in these two sentences. Whereas the third sentence, when you come to the third sentence, since is used for the reason purpose. It is used in this sentence. Since is used, it is for the reason. Let me come back here. So first two sentences, as and when, these are used as conjunctions, and these are going to connect to the other part of the sentence. So that main clause is connected with subordinate clause. So subordinate clause, it won't give the complete meaning. That is why it is called a dependent clause. Now let me come to that. These are called, see that these sentences are called adverbial clauses. What do you call that? Using as, when, or since. This part of the sentences are called adverbial clauses. I repeat that. Connecting with as, when, or since, that are not giving the complete meaning in the sentence. And these are also called, these parts of the sentence are also called adverbial clauses. I think you understand that. So you children, you see that in these three sentences, first part of the sentence connected with as, connected with when, connected with since. These are not giving the complete meaning. These are subordinate clauses. Remaining part of the each sentence you can read after comma, that they give the complete meaning themselves. they are called the dependent clauses. I think that you understood now. So as, when, since, these are also called linkers. Linker means connecting. These are going to connect the other part of the sentence. That is why linkers, these are called linkers. So you have come to know that a main clause or a subordinate clause, or you may call a main clause is called a dependent clause. A subordinate clause is also called a dependent clause. A main clause is called the independent clause. A subordinate clause is called the dependent clause. Don't confuse that. So sentences are connected with these conjunctions. These are also called linkers. Is it okay? So linkers, as, when, and since, those are given to you. These are adverbs. These are also used as adverbs. That is why these are called adverbial clauses. As, when, since, these are also called adverbs in the part of the sentence. So this part of the sentence up to comma to understand, these are called adverbial clauses. What do we call them? Adverbial clauses. Am I right? Clauses to make them subordinate clause. So adverbial clauses are also called the subordinate clauses. Do you understand that? So let me come to that here. As, when, and since. These are the sentences beginning with that means these are going to state that connecting sentences as, when, and since. These are going to state some time, some reason. But whereas other part of the sentence, when you come here, these are consequence. These are going to say the result of this time or something there. That means these are giving some reason, and main clause that it is going to give some result here. These are the telling the reason. Main clause is going to tell you the result of the subordinate clause, that is a dependent clause. You have to understand this. Children, this is a grammar part, and editing part also is given to you. I will come to in the next video, and when I am going to teach you the C lesson, I will come back to the editing part. Thank you.